What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at Gwar Fluids by Mount Baker Vapor. Hold on a sec. Did you just say Gwar Fluids by Mount Baker Vapor? Didn't we already do this one a few years ago? Well, that's right. We got it again, and this time it's in Max VG. So, I wanted to test these out again with the Max VG because last time we did it, it was in 50/50. So, before I begin, I do want to state my intent by saying I did get these products for free for the purpose of this video. So, I do want to thank the people over at Mount Baker Vapor for giving me these bottles for free for the purpose of this video. But my opinions will remain honest, true, and accurate as always. So, that being said, let's go right ahead and get into this. These bottles are available in 0, 1.5, 3, 6, 12, 18, and 24 milligrams of nicotine, and they are all Max VG. The price point for a 30 ml bottle is $10.99, which is pretty darn cheap if you ask me. I think that's a great price point for a 30 ml, and I wish other companies could do it just like Mount Baker. But this is a specific line curated by Beefcake himself from Gwar, and he's a vapor himself, and I really can appreciate, all the effort that he put into making these flavors, and I really do enjoy them. I already know the basic flavor profiles from my memory from the past time we did this video, but I wanted to kind of give you my take on the Max VG line and maybe a little bit of an updated look at these flavors and if anything has changed. So with that being said, I have my first flavor all loaded up in the tank. This is of course the Subvod kit by Kanger with a fresh coil and Gizmoglobin. That's going to be our first flavor we're going to try out today. So the flavor description on this one reads, from our newest specialty line Gwar Fluids, Gizmoglobin, a creamy blueberry blend with notes of nut and custard. Each bottle of Gizmoglobin is freshly harvested by Skullheadface herself. So, as you can see, loaded up in the tank, ready to go. Let's go ahead and give this one a shot. I almost feel like this particular flavor kind of has a bit of an identity crisis. Like, it doesn't know whether it wants to be a dessert vape or a fruity vape. The fruit vape that's in it, the fruity flavor that's in it, I should say, the blueberry is actually pretty nice and ripe and tart. It's almost candy tasting though. I don't know if they did that on purpose or what, but I get a little tiny bit of like a tart blueberry flavor right on the inhale, and on the exhale and the mouthfeel is all the custard and a little bit of nuttiness to it. So I feel like this one's more of a dessert vape, but it kind of has a candy vape inhale, which is kind of strange to me. It's not a bad flavor whatsoever. I do like this one. However, it just kind of seems like the blueberry in it is a little bit out of place. It doesn't seem to know what type of blueberry flavor it wants to be. But overall, it's a very satisfying one. I do enjoy the custard notes and the nuttiness to it. I would say this is more for the dessert vapors than anything else, though. So let's go ahead and have another vape here. Alright, so for my ratings on this one for the flavor, I'm going to give it a 3.5. Honestly, I just feel like it's a bit confused, and I get, maybe it's more of the VG, but it's a very smooth, creamy kind of vape, and I get more of the creaminess to it than anything. The blueberry seems to be a little bit of an afterthought, and it's kind of a strange blueberry. It doesn't quite fit with this kind of flavor profile. And for the vapor production, I'm going to give it a 5. Max VG, really, you could definitely tell the difference between this and the 50/50 version. And on this rig here, now that I have my standardized testing kind of vape that I always use for flavor reviews, I feel like I get a pretty good feel as far as vapor production is concerned between the difference of 50/50, 60/40, 70/30, and Max VG, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm still going to give this one a 5 for the vapor production, and for the throat hit, it's a little bit light, so I'm going to give it a 4 overall. Not sure if it's the flavor itself or if it's just because it's Max VG, but it's definitely a little bit light for a 3 milligram, which all of these are. So yeah, that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our next flavor. Alright guys, we got our next flavor all loaded up in the tank, which is going to be Spew. The flavor description on this one reads, a primarily melon flavor with hints of mixed fruits and berries. From the wretched bowels of scumdogs to your lips, a true Gwar classic. So, if I remember correctly, this one was my favorite personally, and honestly, just from priming up this coil, it definitely brings me right back to when I did my previous review, so let's go ahead and give this one a shot. Oh yeah, that definitely brings me right back to the last time I did the Gwar flavors. The flavor description might be a little bit misleading, however, I do get more of a melon than anything. It's a nice melon mix between a cantaloupe and maybe a honeydew. The rest is kind of lost though. I don't really get a berry or any mixed fruits after that, and then I kind of get almost a cream. The exhale is almost all cream in my opinion. And yeah, I'm not sure really what happened in there as far as the mix, but I'm enjoying it. So that's all I could really say about this one. I do enjoy the mix regardless of the flavor versus the flavor description. So let's go ahead and have another vape. All right, so for the flavor on this one, I'm going to give it a 4. It doesn't quite match up with the flavor description. However, I do enjoy this one a lot. I really love the melon blend, and it works. You know, it definitely works for me. So 4 for the flavor. For the vapor production, I'll give it a 5. And for the throat hit, I'll give it a 4 as well. Just because I feel like these being max VG, they tend to have a little bit of a light throat hit. I could see myself vaping this one at a 6 in the tank. I think I could handle it with a max VG. But yeah, if you guys need a good throat hit, make sure you order something with a little bit higher milligram of nicotine. Probably for you, that might be a little bit more satisfying. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our next flavor. All right, vapors, we're ready to go for our next flavor, which is going to be Bloodbath. The flavor description reads, a powerful tropical fruit blend specially designed to satisfy the bloodlust of every scumdog in the universe. As you can see, we have it loaded up in the tank with its bright red color here. Let's go ahead and have our first vape. So in my opinion, I feel like this one is another one that kind of gets a little bit of an identity crisis. It doesn't really know what kind of tropical blend it wants to be, and nothing really sticks out in my mind as far as individual fruits. And also, overall, the flavor is just kind of muted. I can maybe attribute that to the fact that it's max VG, because the more VG you add, the less flavor you're going to get overall. But this one I feel like definitely worked a lot better in 50-50 versus this blend, which is max VG. Like I said, none of the fruits really stick out in my mind. It's just kind of a random blend of fruits. Honestly, the closest comparison I would have is like a mixed fruit Tums or something like that. It just kind of has that weird, almost medicine-y taste to it. It's definitely not my favorite out of all these so far that I've tried. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just that it's max VG or something like that, but not my favorite overall. So let's go ahead and have another vape. So as I remember in my previous review, I did enjoy this flavor. However, I don't feel like it quite does it for me in this format here in the Max VG. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this one a 2.5 for the flavor. For the vapor production, I'm going to give it a 5. And for the throat hit, it just seems to have a little bit of extra kick to it. I'm not sure if it's one of the particular fruits that's in this or anything like that, but kind of has a little extra twang to it. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 for the throat hit. So yeah, that is the fruit flavors out of the way. Now we're going to move on to some more desserty stuff and something a little bit more earthy. So stay tuned. Alright, so we have a new coil in here. We're ready to go for our next flavor, which is going to be German chocolate beefcake. Now the flavor description reads, a sweet cake flavor with the perfect combination of chocolate, coconut, and caramel. This liquid was concocted from an ancient recipe enjoyed by all who reside on the planet cholesterol. Now, I know what you're thinking, chocolate vapes, gross, but I think this one will change your mind as far as chocolates go. So let's go ahead and have our first vape. So I'm pleased to say that this one definitely did not lose any flavor in the transformation from 50-50 to Max VG. I still get a nice rich chocolate flavor, a nice light coconut, and a little bit of that caramel as well. I really feel like this one translates nicely to the Max VG format. And for all of you guys out there that are curious about a chocolate flavor, make this one your first try here. Definitely pick this one up. I feel like you're going to like it if you like all the flavor combinations in this one. And it works really, really nicely. I mean, I can kind of envisioning myself eating a nice big slab of chocolate cake with a little bit of coconut shavings on top and maybe a little caramel drizzle or something like that. That definitely reminds me of the food itself, and I think that it works. It works. So let's go ahead and have another vape. So I gotta tell you, I've never been a big dessert vape fan, but I really feel like if I'm gonna vape a dessert, this one will be it. Honestly, I think I've found, you know, the diamond in the rough here with this flavor. I think it's very top-notch. It's very rich and natural tasting. Everything in there is just spot on. So for the flavor on this one, I'm actually going to give it a 5. For the vapor production, I'll give it a 5 as well. Again, the throat hit seems a little bit light, so I'm going to give it a 4. But overall, I think this one really just does it for me. If you're going to try any one of these Gwar flavors, make sure it's German chocolate beefcake. So let's go ahead and get wicked up for our next flavor. Alright guys, so for our final flavor tonight, we have Gwar Y4. The flavor description reads, our lords and masters Gwar command we make an RY4 worthy of them. This is our take on a classic vanilla caramel tobacco flavor. So, nice caramel vanilla tobacco, classic RY4. Let's go ahead and have a vape. So I gotta just say that the flavor description on this one is very accurate. You get that sweet caramel and vanilla on the inhale, and on the exhale you get more of the earthy tone to the tobacco and a little bit of the vanilla as well. So I'm glad they kind of carried this one over to the Max VG format. However, I feel like all of those flavors are kind of a little bit more muted than in the 50/50 version. I don't think that's going to be a huge issue considering I don't know too many people that vape Max VG tobaccos. If you're one of those people, make sure you leave a comment in the box below. I'd love to talk to you guys about that. But that being said, I'm kind of glad they did it because the flavor definitely still kind of translates over as accurately as it did with the 50/50. So let's go ahead and have another vape here. So on that second taste, I definitely got a little bit more flavor, but it still feels a tiny bit muted compared to the 50/50. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe my taste buds are worn out after all those flavors, but I gotta say that the flavor description itself is, again, very accurate to the flavor that I get out of this one. So for the flavor, I'm gonna give it a 4.5, for the vapor production a 5, and for the throat hit, again, a little bit light, so I'll give it a 4, but not bad overall. Alright, so with the flavor review portion of the video out of the way, I did want to kind of talk about something that's been bugging me about this line, and of course, it's because they are colored. As you can see, they are highly colored. There's really no way around it. You can't tell me that that's natural coloring or anything like that. These definitely have food coloring in them, and Mount Baker, if you're listening to this video or if you're watching this video, please take the coloring out completely. I really would like to see, if anything, an uncolored version. If you haven't done that already, I know you did that for the previous 50/50 blends. There was an uncolored version and the colored version, but honestly, if I were you, take all the food coloring out of the e-liquid. It does nothing but gunk up coils, and it's going to be a cotton killer, and you don't need to be inhaling anything other than PGVG, nicotine, and flavorings. So that's just my 2 cents. I mean, take from that what you will, but I mean, there's so many different options as far as bottles are concerned. You can get colored bottles. The labels on these things are just plain white on clear vinyl, so you can put colored labels on it, but please take the food coloring out of e-liquid. We don't need it. We don't want it. That's just my opinion, of course. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below of colored e-liquids or any of these flavors in particular, or whether or not you vape Max VG tobaccos. So that being said, that about does it for this video, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button if you liked the video, and subscribe for more. Check out the advocacy links I have in the description. They're there for you. Make sure you're fighting for your right to vape, as well as all my social media. I have Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you're following me on there, as well as my Facebook page. Don't forget to like that. And of course, check me out on Snapchat because I snap almost daily, just trying to keep up with my day-to-day. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. And as always, vape on.